Usada issues a public warning to Nate Diaz after UFC 202. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you like this video, also subscribe to the channel, and follow Nate Diaz on his Instagram, Nate Diaz 209. This is his verified account. Now, to give you guys some insight what I'm referring to, you go to Usada's verified Twitter account and they posted a link to an article. And this is their official website. It says, UFC athlete Nate Diaz accepts public warning for anti-doping policy violation. What they are referring to is after his second fight with Conor McGregor, UFC 202, he was doing a post-fight press conference with the media and they were asking him questions out of nowhere. He doesn't try to hide it, but he pulled out a vape pen and he admits that there was cannabis in it. So it was a marijuana vape pen and he was smoking that as he's answering questions. Again, he wasn't trying to hide it. It's on tape, it's on camera. He was just going about his business being himself. And with that self-admission, that is considered in competition testing. So you're not supposed to smoke or have anything that's on that banned list 6 hours before or after your weigh-in or fights, because you're considered in competition during that period. And the fact that he admits that he had a vape pen, then he's technically, I guess, guilty. So as a result, USADA gave him a slap on the wrist and put out a public warning to him for that, like, hey, don't do that, you can't do that. So I want to give my thoughts. I'm glad that they didn't do too much given the situation, and we all know the history with the Diaz brothers. Let them boys live, man. Let the Diaz brothers do their thing. Like, people make this big to-do about weed. Oh, it's weed, and they try to throw the book at Nick Diaz, and it's not that serious. And I'm going to explain to you just my thoughts. And maybe I'm partial or biased because I'm from Northern California. Out here, I'm not that far from Stockton, Manteca, where these guys train. And I went to their gym and stuff like that. The bottom line is this. In California in general, LA, Bay Area, the Valley, weed is not that big of a deal. You know what I mean? People smoke. I have a ton of friends that smoke. I don't smoke. I have smoked in the past. And I'll tell you, it's not a performance enhancing drug. It doesn't enhance your performance. You're not going to be a better fighter from smoking weed. At most, you might get the munchies or some shit and go to Jack and the Crack late night. You might get lethargic even. I know when I smoked in the past, I got funny. You know what I mean? I was just cracking jokes and having fun and stuff like that. But I never really smoked like routinely. But I still understand that it's not really the end of the world. Like, it's not like it's helping your performance. I strongly believe that. A lot of people are making it like I understand anabolic steroids, EPO, I understand meldonium, things like that, or even hardcore drugs, even alcohol, because alcohol, along with hardcore drugs, can help you in a combat sport such as boxing or UFC. The reason is some of those hardcore drugs can actually numb you. Even alcohol, it can numb you. So if you're getting punched and you should be hurt or affected, and these drugs got in your blood system and you have so much adrenaline and whatever activities happen in your body because of these drugs, then that might make you almost invincible. I remember watching the episode of Cops, right? And there's a guy, he was butt ass naked walking down the street, and then he just started beating down a picket fence with his forearms and punching through the fence, like really knocking it down. He's bleeding and bloody, and it literally took a whole gang of cops to restrain him. He wasn't like punching the cops or nothing. He was just like, wasn't letting them restrain him. And he was on PCP Sherm, and he was like unstoppable. They say drugs like that give you the strength of 10 men. So I understand that. I've even seen that with alcohol, where people, they get numb to different things. I had a friend who jumped off a roof. He was being dumb, he was drunk, jumped off a roof and fucked up his leg, and he was cool the rest of the night. The next day, he said at work, he was like, man, my leg is fucked up. But when he was drunk, he didn't really feel it. He wasn't really tripping. But when all that stuff comes down, that's when you start to feel it. So to me, the marijuana is not like that. You look at Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. fought Sergio Martinez. This is his face after the fight. It certainly didn't help him. He had a little bit of success in one round, in a small second of the round. But that's it. You know what I mean? Marijuana to me is not a performance enhancing drug. It's not going to get up there and give you this crazy stamina or anything like that. So I think people make this big deal, especially how how they tried to do Nick Diaz and ban him and give him this like indefinite long ass sentence, even though he failed multiple times. So it's just, weed is pretty common. You know what I mean? There's some people that smoke weed for medicinal purposes and different things like that. I just really don't see how it is gonna increase your performance. And you look at the fight with Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor in the rematch came out very methodical, looked good in the first 2 rounds, seemed to gas out. And Diaz is always that tough. I didn't really see anything that I haven't seen from Diaz previously in any other fight in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So I really don't, I'm not saying it like I'm like I smoke. It's not even about me, but it's just I don't see this being a big deal. So I'm glad Usada only gave him a slap on the wrist instead of trying to do too much and convict him and take his purse and try to make an example out of him like they did to Nick Diaz. I really don't see it. Again, I understand PEDs and like on some Lance Armstrong, you're on EPO, you're on stuff like that. That makes a lot more sense because those are things that give you a certain unfair advantage, and it's proven. I don't think weed is proven to give you marked strength or increased stamina or anything like that. That's going to definitely help you in a combat sport. So let these boys live. Nate Diaz, I don't know when he'll come back and fight. At one point post-fight, Conor McGregor, he says, fuck that, Conor, let's get this trilogy. I want that trilogy. And he feels like Conor McGregor's getting unfair favoritism because he's this cash cow. When he beat Conor McGregor the first time, he basically said that the UFC was quick to phone him and schedule that rematch because that's what Conor wanted. And after he loses to Conor McGregor, he's not getting the same treatment. So at one point he said he's not coming back unless it's Conor. I don't know how true he is to that, but you guys let me know what you think of this. I just want to see the dude back, and again, I'm glad they only gave him a slap on the wrist. It's really not that big of a deal. Going to check out my boy Andre Ward. He sparred with Andre Ward, and he's just a cool dude. Met him. He's a cool dude. Give him his fight. A lot of people are upset really because Conor McGregor is getting all these, like he has a chance for 2 belts in 2 weight divisions. Jose Aldo's talking about retiring because he hasn't been afforded the opportunity to avenge his loss. But Conor McGregor loses to Nate Diaz and immediately gets, in the same year, he gets a rematch. And then other guys like were in line for Eddie Alvarez fight, UFC 205, like Nurmagomedov. And all of a sudden, that fight is looked over and Conor McGregor gets the fight. So a lot of people aren't really happy with that. They feel Conor McGregor is kind of dictating what happens in the UFC. Let me know what you guys think of Nate Diaz and his most recent public warning. It could have been worse. Good that it wasn't. And when is Nick Diaz coming back? Who do you want to see Nate Diaz in there with next? Drop me a comment. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.